Welcome to Books. We bring you a variety of audiobook novels, ranging from thrilling suspense to sci-fi adventures. Whether you're commuting, enjoying some leisure time, or winding down before bedtime, Open Books is here to accompany you. Alan felt as though he carried a heavy burden of purpose as he traversed the winding paths through the trees, each step feeling like a venture into the unknown. Shadows danced among the treetops, stealing the warmth from the light, leaving only a chilling glow. His heartbeat quickened with each bird call, his body tensing as if anticipating the treacherous dangers lurking ahead. In the dense forest, trees tangled as if to impede Alan's progress. He struggled to maintain his composure, focusing on the objective of his mission, to find the mysterious vanished scientist. Yet, his mind was filled with uncertainty. What had befallen this scientist? Why disappear into this desolate forest? As time passed, Alan began to feel the weight of solitude pressing upon him. Every tree, every leaf seemed to whisper the secrets of the forest. He fought to suppress his fear, believing steadfastly in his ability to find answers. Suddenly, a gust of wind carried the scent of vegetation. Alan halted, listening intently to the sounds around him. In the distance, a faint sound reached his ears, like the call of some creature. He swiftly moved towards the source, hoping to find clues. Navigating through the dense foliage, Alan finally arrived at a clearing. There, he discovered obvious signs of human presence, footprints, research tools, and experimental equipment. These findings filled him with anticipation but also heightened his vigilance. Abruptly, a figure dashed through the underbrush. Alan tensed, preparing for any sudden developments. He crouched down, ready to conceal himself, only to unexpectedly come face to face with another person. "Who are you?" Alan demanded sharply, clutching a tightly gripped expedition knife. The figure turned, revealing a familiar face. "I'm Arya," she said. "I'm also searching for the missing scientist." Alan felt a sense of relief, finally finding a companion. They decided to join forces, tracking down the elusive clues together. Arya informed Alan that she had glimpsed the scientist in the forest but lost sight of him thereafter. So, Alan and Arya embarked on a new adventure, exploring the mysteries of the forest, hoping to unveil the truth. Their hearts brimmed with hope, yet were tinged with unease, for they knew not what secrets lay hidden within the depths of the forest. Thick vines intertwined before Alan, seeming like invisible barriers impeding his progress. He continually sliced through the vines with his machete, traversing the dense jungle step by step. Suddenly, a massive tiger leaped out from the foliage, roaring as it lunged towards Alan. His heart quickened, but instead of fear, a survival instinct kicked in. He agilely dodged the tiger's attacks and countered with his machete. In a life-or-death struggle, he finally repelled the tiger, albeit sustaining some minor injuries. "Are you all right?" A voice suddenly sounded behind him. Alan turned around to find a young female explorer looking at him with concern. "I'm okay. Thanks for asking." "Who are you?" "I'm Kelly," the female explorer replied. "I'm also searching for the missing scientist." They exchanged their situations and realized they shared the same goal. Consequently, they decided to temporarily join forces to search for clues about the missing scientist. Throughout their journey, they encountered more challenges, attacks from wild animals, hidden traps, and natural obstacles. However, they didn't give up. Instead, they pressed on even more resolutely because they knew that finding the scientist was the key to uncovering the truth. As night fell, they rested in an open clearing. Kelly lit a campfire, its flames reflecting on her determined face. "What should we do?" Kelly asked, her voice tinged with urgency. "We can't give up," Alan replied firmly. "We must keep moving forward until we find the answers." Thus, they resolved to continue tracking the scientist's footsteps and searching for more clues. They knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but they were willing to risk everything to pursue the beacon of truth. Alan observed the surrounding environment intently, his eyes scanning through the shadows of the trees, searching for any possible clues. Suddenly, his gaze fell upon an abandoned cabin. He quickly approached, feeling a sense of unease creeping up within him. Entering the cabin, he discovered some seemingly forgotten research equipment and books, suggesting that this place might have once been a research facility. He carefully inspected each item, hoping to find some useful clues. Suddenly, his eyes fell upon a damaged stone slab. It was covered with strange symbols and patterns, resembling some ancient script. He crouched down, closely examining every detail on the slab, trying to decipher its meaning. "What's this?" Kelly walked into the cabin, curious about the stone slab in Alan's hands. "I'm not sure," Alan frowned, "but I have a strange feeling that these symbols might be related to the disappearance of the scientists." They fell into silence, both engrossed in the exploration of the unknown. Suddenly, Kelly noticed a small hole under the floor. She bent down, attempting to find more clues from the hole. Alan's heart began to race, feeling a strong sense of urgency, as if something important awaited their discovery. He followed Kelly as they dug out an ancient box from the small hole. Opening the box, they found an ancient map and a sealed diary inside. "What's this?" Kelly picked up the map, looking at Alan with confusion. Alan took the map, carefully studying the markings and routes on it. "This is a treasure map," he said in astonishment. "Perhaps the disappearance of the scientists is connected to this map." They exchanged a surprised glance, realizing that this discovery might hold the key to unraveling the mystery. They decided to follow the instructions on the map, searching for more clues, hoping to find the missing scientists and uncover the truth behind it all. Alan stepped into the abandoned laboratory, his eyes immediately drawn to the scene inside. The lab was in disarray, with various instruments and equipment scattered on the floor, as if it were the aftermath of a sudden disaster. Alan couldn't help but feel a wave of unease. He knew he was approaching the heart of the truth. In one corner of the laboratory, he found a covered experiment bench. Carefully, he removed the cover to reveal its contents. On the bench, he saw a bottle containing a strange liquid emitting a faint blue glow. This liquid seemed to be an unknown biological substance, exuding an indescribable air of mystery. Suddenly, Alan's gaze fell upon a folder on the experiment bench. He opened the folder to find it filled with various records and documents describing a remarkable experiment conducted by scientists: genetic modification. Alan's heart raced, his hands trembling slightly, as he realized he was getting closer to the truth. The scientists were not only researching medicinal plants but also conducting an extremely dangerous genetic modification experiment. And this experiment had gone wrong, resulting in some terrifying consequences. "Kelly, you need to see this." Alan turned to Kelly standing behind him and exclaimed. Kelly approached, looking at the folder in Alan's hands, her eyes widening in response. "What does this mean?" Kelly asked, her voice filled with astonishment and apprehension. "It means the scientists might have encountered a significant dilemma," Alan said. "We need to find them quickly and stop this experiment from causing further disasters." Filled with determination, they knew they had to do everything in their power to prevent the spread of this disaster. So they hurriedly left the laboratory, continuing their search in hopes of stopping a larger crisis from unfolding. Alan hurriedly left the laboratory, filled with anxiety about the impending challenges. Suddenly, a sharp gunfire echoed through the jungle, as if reminding him that danger was approaching. He quickly took cover in the thickets, trying to determine the direction of the gunfire. Through the gaps in the trees, he saw a group of mysterious armed individuals moving towards their direction. Clad in black camouflage uniforms, wielding heavy weapons, their eyes gleamed with a cold light. "We need to get out of here fast." Kelly's voice suddenly sounded in his ear. Alan turned, looking at her anxious and unsettled face, realizing they were in grave danger. They swiftly took action, attempting to sneak deeper into the jungle to evade the armed pursuers. However, the armed individuals seemed to have anticipated their moves. They quickly surrounded Alan and Kelly, trapping them in the center of the jungle. "Both of you, stop right there," one of the armed individuals shouted loudly, pointing at them. Alan and Kelly's hearts sank. They understood they had nowhere to escape. They halted their steps, hands raised, showing no intent to resist. "Who are you? Why are you stopping us?" Kelly urgently questioned. The armed individuals remained stoic, looking at Alan and Kelly as if they had expected all of this. "None of this concerns you. Now, come with us," one of them threatened. Forced to comply, Alan and Kelly followed them, filled with unease and fear. They didn't know what fate awaited them, but they knew that only by remaining calm and resilient could they overcome the imminent crisis. Alan and Kelly were taken to a desolate location surrounded by dense trees with no end in sight. They found themselves locked in a seemingly inescapable situation, yet Alan's mind was filled with determination to resist. "We have to find a way to escape," Alan whispered to Kelly, his eyes gleaming with resolve. Kelly nodded. She knew it was a critical moment, and they had to stand united to have any chance of survival. Suddenly, an armed individual approached, wielding a heavy rifle. "Don't attempt anything foolish, or face the consequences," he warned coldly. Alan and Kelly exchanged a glance, indicating their shared determination and belief. They knew it was time to act. As the armed individual turned away, Alan and Kelly immediately sprung into action. Using concealed knives and tools, they attempted to unlock the handcuffs, but they were made of a special material, incredibly sturdy. "What do we do? These handcuffs won't budge," Kelly exclaimed anxiously. Alan remained calm, pondering, then his eyes lit up. "We don't have to open them from the outside. We can try to find something to unlock them with." Kelly nodded, acknowledging Alan's idea was correct. They searched around and finally found a key hidden in a corner. They quickly used it to unlock the handcuffs, gaining their freedom. Just as they were about to leave, a group of armed individuals suddenly appeared before them, wielding weapons with menacing attitudes. "Run!" Alan shouted loudly, and they immediately began to flee, engaging in a life-and-death struggle with the armed individuals. Gunshots and shouts echoed, filling the jungle with chaos and fear. Alan and Kelly fought with all their might. Despite being cornered, they were determined not to give up until the very end. In the end, they managed to escape the pursuit of the armed individuals, but they also realized that the dark forces behind this experiment might be even more powerful than they had imagined. They knew they had to continue their efforts to uncover the truth and stop the spread of this disaster. Alan and Kelly finally returned to the city, eagerly informing the local authorities of the truth they had discovered. They described everything they had seen in the jungle, including the genetic experiments conducted by the missing scientists and the situation of being pursued by armed personnel. However, what they did not anticipate was the unexpected reaction after the truth was revealed. "Is what you're saying true? This is too bizarre," an official asked in astonishment, his face filled with shock and confusion. "It's absolutely true. We saw it with our own eyes," Alan replied firmly, his voice full of determination. However, as the investigation deepened, they gradually discovered that the mastermind behind this experiment was actually a secretive organization with vast resources. This discovery made the situation even more complex, making Alan and Kelly realize that their enemy was not just an isolated scientist or a small group, but a secretive organization with immense power and resources. "This is truly insane," Kelly exclaimed in astonishment, a hint of frustration and anger on her face. Alan took a deep breath, knowing that the battle had become even more difficult, but he was not going to back down. He was determined to expose the crimes of this secretive organization and ensure that justice was served. "We can't give up," Alan said firmly. "We must continue to investigate until we uncover this organization." Their eyes met, filled with determination and resolve. They knew that this battle might be a long and difficult journey, but they were willing to risk everything to pursue the light of justice. The adventure would continue, fraught with more challenges and uncertainties. Alan and Kelly embarked on the final journey of their decisive battle, knowing that it would be a difficult and dangerous journey. They infiltrated the secret organization's base, prepared to uncover the truth behind the experiments and thwart the organization's evil plans. As they approached the base, a sinister atmosphere engulfed the area. Massive buildings loomed before them, emitting a hidden aura of evil. "We need to be careful," Alan whispered to Kelly. "The situation here may be much more complicated than we anticipated." Kelly nodded, her eyes flashing with determination. "We must succeed, for the sake of those innocent people." They quietly infiltrated the base, avoiding the patrolling armed personnel, trying to find the center of the experiments. In the depths of a laboratory, they finally discovered the truth of the experiments. The organization was conducting a terrifying genetic modification experiment, aiming to create super soldiers. "This is horrifying," Kelly exclaimed, her face pale. Alan's heart sank as well. He knew he had to act quickly to stop the spread of this disaster. "We need to act fast, or it will be too late." Just as they were about to leave, a group of armed personnel suddenly stormed in, initiating a heart-pounding chase. Gunshots and explosions echoed in the laboratory, as if death lingered in the jungle. Alan and Kelly fought fiercely. Knowing this was their final stand, they couldn't give up easily. Ultimately, after a fierce battle, Alan successfully uncovered the truth behind the experiments and thwarted the organization's evil plans. However, this victory came at a cost. In the heat of battle, Alan lost his best friend, Kelly, who sacrificed herself to protect him. This left Alan filled with sorrow and pain, but he knew he had to stay strong for Kelly and all those who sacrificed for this cause. In the end, Alan stood amidst the ruins of the base, gazing into the distance, his heart filled with reflection and determination. Although the battle had ended, he knew his adventure had only just begun. If you enjoyed today's story, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. Your support is the driving force behind our continuous creative journey. Look forward to the next episode, where more exciting stories await you at Open Books. Thank you all for tuning in, and until next time, goodbye.